Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian report. We'll be looking at the Aussie market. We'll also look at BHP and Rio and some of the banks, because the banks, the finance and the resources are pulling against each other, as I've been talking about. It does appear that stocks like Amazon and the S&P 500 and so on have moved down quite strongly. We were looking in this target area here for wave B. So the sharp move down kind of helps us solidify that proposition there. It hasn't really finished in a nice move to the upside, so I need to just spend a little bit of time and just sort of look at the detail here. One of the things I want to look at before I move into the intraday here and look for the trade setups here is looking at Rio and BHP and compare them to the bank. So basically, we know that the materials sector, this is Rio here on the daily chart, so we know that with BHP and Rio and other markets that have this particular pattern here have been trending up, while banks have been trending down. Okay, so they've been working in the opposite. With the banks, I could see from CBA that we're going to have a correction up, and for the material sector, we're going to have a correction down. So basically, that's what we're looking at as a correction across this level here, before seeing further upside here for Rio. And this is the same for BHP, even though that BHP hasn't really corrected yet. But you can see that it's been strong here, and then it's been just sort of hanging in here. So perhaps it will have its correction today with this, but we're still looking for the trend up here. We're just looking for that pullback there. So CBA was the one that really stuck out from the beginning, in terms that, if I call this is just a tick chart, 100 ticks. So basically, the move up through here in most of the other banks had 3 waves up here, but the Commonwealth Bank had 5 waves up here. So I was thinking that, or this was just the A wave, then we'll have a B wave, and then we'll have a C wave here. So that's pretty much in play here. So this can pretty much turn down at any stage. Normally it would come back to around this level here before moving down again, but the A, the B and the C wave here before moving down. So basically, in a way, the materials sector has been doing the opposite within reason. Obviously some stocks are leaders and some are followers, and some will have smaller corrections and some will have bigger corrections. But that's really what's been going on here for this market, and that's why I wanted to get out of banks yesterday down here and look to resell back up here. So when we look at ANZ, for example, we can see the same sort of pattern happening here too, as the A, the B and the C here. And in this case here, it can be finished here now as well here. So we can look for short trade setups within all of this, and then looking for a move down. But this move here is in 3 waves here. So, well, even to this point, so an A and a B. Sorry, a bit of a tricky one. It can be counted in both directions. It just looked like this was more of a 5-wave structure here, so it was better if I had the A wave sitting here on that little high here, than an A and a B and a C wave here. Not that it makes that much difference. And also for CBA WBC, look, we're in the downtrend. We're looking at an A and a B and a C, and it may retest higher here as well. I would expect this to move up here further than this, because this little move in here is in 3 waves here, this move coming down. So that means that we need to see 5 waves in this structure, in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. It doesn't have to make a new high here, but it could surprise us and just have this correction today and move all the way up. or it can break down from here. I need to investigate this closer and find out like that there, a breaking of that of top of wave, oh no, really wave 2 here. I need to go and check it out, but I'll look for the trades in these today because I wanted to get out of the long trades while this is going on. I was holding the resources and holding through their correction, but I didn't want to double the loss. There was a chance of handling this much with a bit more finesse in this particular point. So anyway, I'll look for an entry back in on the short side for these. We're also seeing US banks move strongly to the downside now too, so that's in line with our forecasting. So I'll come back to the Australian market now. So finance and material sector are working in opposites. They're going through that little correction now, and then they'll resume their trends. So what we've been looking for here is a move down from this area through here, and it hasn't really finished off nicely here. So if I just go to, I'll just cut into the 1 hour here. I think that's got more. The thing that sort of bothers me with this particular top that we've had in here overnight is that the move up here doesn't count as 5 waves. It counts pretty much, if I can just go to a tick chart here. On the cash market, I can kind of count it in 5 waves, but in this market I can't. So I've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, which is fine for an A wave. And then this move here is in 3 waves, as you can see. So this would be an A and a B, and then 5 waves down for the C here. So it really makes an A and a B, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 up through to here. So it doesn't finish well. So really, this would be looking at an A wave down here, a high B wave here, and 5 waves for the C wave here, and then a move higher from that point. We've got 5 waves coming down through here. So, this will come down. Let me just double check this. Yeah, that'll do. That's okay. It'll still come down. It still would come down further, but it's already priced in. So what we're really looking for our short trades here is really this little leg to finish here, and then there'll be a retest of an A and a B and a C. It may not come this high. That's just the 50-60% retracement level from this area, from this high to this low here. But basically what we need to see, if I can just go back to the hourly chart here. So yeah, we need this to finish off here. So be careful about going short here, because at some time, probably tomorrow, this can move down to here. There could even be just a retest to the 5.9 here, struggling, and then move down rather than moving all the way up. So also too, logic would think that after a sharp, we've been looking for a top and we've got a sharp move down in 5 waves here. So logically would think we would be continuing moving down here, but we also just need to give a little bit of caution, because this is 5.9 here, and this is quite normal for this to play out here, because if I use the classic trading levels pattern on the 5.9 here, I'll just push this back up here. So normally we would have the arrival here, then the reaction, and then the first high above the level, and then we would have an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here, before moving up higher here. So at the moment with this pattern from here, which is this one here, this here, we could certainly just have an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here, and then moving off like that too. So at this level here, so be mindful of that, and we need to work through that. But that won't come into play until we're into this space down through here. But now that the US markets have made a nice move to the downside, I do think we'll continue to the downside now. The classic trading levels pattern is always good. So what we would do normally is put that trigger up here, just for sort of a reference point, and then later on we would look to grab that and then bring that down to the top of this one here, wherever that rally comes into. It's not going to trigger us at that stage, but when that comes into play, then then eventually we can continue to move it down until we're triggered to the upside here. Okay, so I'm just going to remove this here now. So that's the way that we'll handle it if we have to go long. We'll just keep moving that down, and if we get support on here eventually, well then we'll be on that long side. But otherwise, we need to be playing to the short side and looking further down. So on that short side here, we're looking at this here. If this is going to play out the way I think it will be, we'll see wave 1 here, wave 2 coming back into here, wave 3 will probably come down to these areas through here, wave 4 and wave 5. So we'll be looking for something like that here if this goes according to plan. And what we're looking for at the moment in here is wave 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here, and then a little A, B and C into here, and then down from there. So let's see how that plays out. All right, I'll leave it at that. Cheers.